Shabbat Shalom. Well, today has been a day, let me tell you. The refuge ruckus started today. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to put a tag down in the bottom. The refuge ruckus is an amazing event. It is put on by Kaleb House. It's Kaleb with a K. And it's all about raising money and raising awareness for kids and women that have been rescued from the sex trade industry. I can't tell you how close to my heart this organization is and how vital this work is. So I'm going to go ahead and tag them. And if you don't know who they are, reach out and get to know them, because it is truly a worthwhile organization. But I'm late getting this posted, so let's go ahead and get into it so I can get it online. This week we have a double portion. So it's going to be Vayak'hel, which is he assembled, and Pekudei, which is counting. And I'm sure I butchered those words, and I apologize to anyone that actually speaks Hebrew. The reading's going to come from Exodus 35, starting in verse 1, and it's going to go through the end of Exodus chapter 40, and Exodus 21, verses 1 through 20, Ezekiel 45, verse 16 through 46, verse 18, and Matthew 21, verses 12 through 17. And this Shabbat is on March 14th of 2026, and it is the 25th day of Adar. So let's go ahead and, your daily bread book, everything is in there. And we're going to be reading as usual from the scriptures. And we're going to start Exodus 35, verse 1, which starts on page 95. And Moshe assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel and said to them, "These are the words which Yahweh has commanded you to do. Work is done for 6 days, but on the 7th day it is a set apart to you, a Sabbath of rest to Yahweh. Anyone doing work on it is put to death. Do not kindle a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day." And Moshe spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, "This is the word which Yahweh commanded, saying, take from among you a contribution to Yahweh. Everyone whose heart has moved him, let him bring it as a contribution to Yahweh, gold and silver and bronze, and blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine linen and goat's hair, and ram skin dyed red, and fine leather and acacia wood, and oil for the light, and spices for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense, and shoham stones, and stones to be set in the shoulder garment and in the breastplate. And let all the wise-hearted among you come and make all that Yahweh has commanded: the dwelling place, its tent and its covering, its hooks and its boards, its bars, its columns and its sockets, the ark and its poles, the lid of atonement and the veil of the covering, the table and its poles and all its utensils, and the showbread, and the lampstands for the light and its utensils, and its lamps, and the oil for the lamps, and the incense slaughter place, and its poles, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the covering for the door at the entrance of the dwelling place, the slaughter place of ascending offerings, with its bronze grates, its poles, and all its utensils, the basin and its stand, the screens of the courtyard, its columns and their sockets, and the covering for the gates in the courtyard, the pegs of the dwelling place, and the pegs of the courtyard, and their cords, the woven garments to do service in the set-apart place, and the set-apart garments for Aharon the priest, and the garments of his sons to serve as priests. And all the congregation of the children of Israel withdrew from the presence of Moshe. And everyone whose heart lifted him up, and everyone whose spirit moved him came, and they brought the contribution to Yahweh for the work of the tent of appointment, and for all its service, and for the set-apart garments. And they came, both men and women, all whose hearts moved them, and brought earrings and nose rings and rings and necklaces and golden goods, even everyone who made a wave offering of gold to Yahweh. And every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine linen and goat's hair and ram's skin dyed red, and fine leather brought them. Everyone who would make a contribution to Yahweh of silver or bronze brought it. And everyone with whom was found acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. And all the wise-hearted women spun yarn with their hands and brought what they had spun, the blue and the purple, the scarlet material and the fine linen, and all the women whose hearts lifted them up in wisdom spun the goat's hair. And the rulers brought shoham stones, and the stones to be set in the shoulder garments and in the breastplate, and the spices and the oil for the light and all the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a voluntary offering to Yahweh, all the men and women whose hearts moved them to bring all kinds of works, which Yahweh, by the hand of Moshe, had commanded to be done. And Moshe said to the children of Israel, "See, Yahweh has called by name Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah. And he has filled him with the spirit of Elohim in wisdom, in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all work, to make design, to work in gold, and in the silver and bronze, and in cutting the stones for settings, and in carving wood, and to work in all workmanship of design. And he has put in his heart the ability to teach. In him and Ahoyalib, son of Ahisamach, the son of the tribe of Dan. And he filled them with skill to do all the work of the engraver and the designer and the embroiderer, in blue and in purple, in scarlet material, and in fine linen, and a weaver doing any work, and makers of designs. And Bezalel and Ahoyalib, and every wise-hearted man in whom Yahweh had given wisdom and understanding to know how to do all the work for the service of the set-apart place, shall do according to all that Yahweh has commanded. And Moshe called Bezalel and Ahoyalib, and every wise-hearted man in whose heart Yahweh had given wisdom, everyone whose heart lifted him up to come and to do the work. And they received from Moshe all the contribution which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of making the set-apart place. And they still brought to him voluntary offerings every morning. So all the craftsmen who were doing all the work of the set-apart place came, each from the work that he was doing. And they spoke to Moshe, saying, "The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which Yahweh commands us to do. Then Moshe commanded, and they sent his word throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman do any more work for the contribution of the set-apart place. And the people were withheld from bringing. For what they had was enough for all the work to be done, more than enough. Then all the wise-hearted ones among them who worked on the dwelling place made 10 curtains, woven of fine linen and blue and purple and scarlet material. They made them with cherubim, the work of a skilled workman. The length of each curtain was 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain was 4 cubits, all the curtains having one measure. And he joined 5 curtains, one to another, and the other 5 curtains he joined one to another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of the end curtains of one set, and the same he did on the edge of the end curtain of the other set. 50 loops he made on one curtain, and 50 loops he made on the edge of the end of the curtain of the second set. The loops held one curtain to another. And he made 50 hooks of gold, and joined the curtains for each other with the hooks, and the dwelling place became one. And he made curtains of goat hair for the tent over the dwelling place, and he made 11 curtains. The length of each curtain was 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains having one measure. And he joined 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops on the edge of the end curtain of one set, and 50 loops he made on the edge of the curtain of the second set. And he made 50 bronze hooks to join the tent, to be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skin, dyed red, and a covering of fine leather above that. And for the dwelling place, he made boards of acacia wood standing up. The length of each board was 10 cubits, and the length of each board 1.5 cubits. And each board had 2 tenons for binding one to another. So he did to all the boards of the dwelling place. And he made boards for the dwelling place, 20 boards for the south side. And he made 40 sockets of silver to go under the 20 boards, and 2 sockets under each of the boards for its 2 tenons. And for each side of the dwelling place, for the north side, he made 20 boards. And the 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under the one board, and 2 sockets under the other board. And he made 6 boards for the west side of the dwelling place. And he made 2 boards for the 2 back corners of the dwelling place. And they were double beneath, and similarly, they were complete on the top by 1 ring. So he did to both of them for the 2 corners. And there were 8 boards and their silver sockets, 16 sockets, 2 sockets under each board, each of the boards. And he made bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards on one side of the dwelling place, and 5 bars for the boards on the other side of the dwelling place, and 5 bars for the boards of the dwelling place at the rear, westward. And he made the middle bar to pass through the boards from one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with gold, and their rings he made of gold to be holders for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet materials, and fine worked linen. It was made with cherubim, the work of skilled workmen. And he made 4 columns of acacia wood for it, and overlaid them with gold, with their hooks of gold. And he cast 4 sockets of silver for them. And he made a covering for the tent door of blue and purple and scarlet material, and fine woven linen made by a weaver. and its 5 columns with their hooks, and he overlaid their tops and their rings with gold, but their 5 sockets were of bronze. And Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits wide, with 1.5 cubits high. And he overlaid it with clean gold inside and outside, and made a molding of gold all around it. And he cast 4 rings of gold for it, and its 4 feet, 2 rings on one side, and 2 rings on the other side. And he made poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the poles into the rings at the sides of the ark to lift the ark. And he made a lid of atonement of clean gold, 2.5 cubits long, and 1.5 cubits wide. And he made 2 cherubim of beaten gold, and he made them from the 2 ends of the lid of atonement. 1 cherubim at one end of the side, and the other cherub on the other end on that side. And they made the cherubim from the lid of atonement from the 2 ends. And the cherubim spread out their wings above and covered the lid of atonement with their wings, with their faces toward each other. The faces of the cherubim were turned toward the lid of atonement. And he made the table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, and 1 cubit wide, and 1.5 cubits high. And he overlaid it with clean gold, and made a molding of gold all around it. And he made a rim of a handbreadth all around it, and made a molding of gold for the rim all around it. And he cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put the rings on the 4 corners that were on the 4 legs. The rings were next to the rim, as holders for the poles to lift the table. And he made the poles of acacia wood to lift the table, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the utensils which were on the table, its dishes, and its cups, and its bowls, and its jars for pouring of clean gold. And he made the lampstand of clean gold. He made the lampstand of beaten work, its base, and its shaft, its cups, its ornamental knobs, and its blossoms were from it. And 6 branches came out from its side, 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side. And there were 3 cups, like almond flowers on one branch, with ornamental knobs and blossom, and 3 cups like almond flowers on the other branch, a knob and a blossom. So for the 6 branches come out of the lampstand. And on the lampstand there were 4 cups of almond flowers, its knobs and blossoms, and a knob under the first 2 branches of the same, and a knob under the second 2 branches of the same, and a knob under the third 2 branches of the same. For the 6 branches came out of it. Their knobs and their branches were of it. All of it was one beaten work of clean gold. And he made its 7 lamps, and its snuffers, and its trays of clean gold. He made it of a talent of clean gold, and all its utensils. And he made the incense slaughter place of acacia wood, 1 cubit long and 1 cubit wide, square, and 2 cubits high. Its horns were of it. And he overlaid it with clean gold, its top and its sides all around, and its horns. And he made a molding for it of gold all around it. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the molding, at its 2 corners on both sides, as holders for the poles with which to lift it. And he made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the set-apart anointing oil, and the clean incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the perfumer. And he made the slaughter place of ascending offering of acacia wood, 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide, square, and 3 cubits high. And he made its horns and its 4 corners. The horns were of it, and he overlaid it with bronze. And he made all the utensils for the slaughter place, the pots, and the shovels, and the basins, and the forks, and the fire holders. He made all its utensils of bronze. And he made a grating for the slaughter place, a bronze network under its rim, midway from the bottom. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 corners of the bronze grating, as holders for the poles. And he made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. And he put the poles into the rings onto the side of the slaughter place, with which to lift it. He made the slaughter place hollow for boards. And he made the basin of bronze and its stand of bronze from the bronze mirror of the serving woman who did service at the door of the tent of appointments. And he made the courtyard for the south side of the screens of the courtyard were of fine woven linen, 100 cubits long. There 20 columns, and there 20 sockets of bronze. The hooks of the columns and their bands were of silver, and for the north side of the screens were 100 cubits long. There 20 columns, and there 20 sockets of bronze. The hooks of the columns and the bands were of silver. And for the west side there were screens of 50 cubits, then 10 columns, and their 10 sockets. The hooks of the columns and their bands were of silver. And for the east side, eastward, 50 cubits. 15 cubits of screens on the one side, with their 3 columns and their 3 sockets. And 15 cubits of screen the other side of the courtyard gate, on the side and that side, on this side and that side, with their 3 columns and their 3 sockets. All the screens of the courtyard all around were of fine woven linen, and the sockets of the columns were of bronze. The hooks of the columns and their bands were of silver, and the overlay of their tops were of silver. And all the columns of the courtyard had bands of silver. And the covering for the gate of the courtyard was the work of an embroiderer, a blue and purple and scarlet material, and a fine woven linen, and 20 cubits long. And the height along its width was 5 cubits, corresponding to the screens of the courtyard. And the columns were 4, and their sockets of bronze 4. Their hooks were of silver, and the overlay of their tops and their bands was of silver. And all the pegs of the dwelling place and all the courtyard all around were of bronze. These were the appointments of the dwelling place of the witness, which was appointed by the mouth of Moshe for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aharon the priest. And Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah, made all that Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And with him Aholiab, son of Ashiamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and designer, an embroiderer of blue and purple and scarlet material, and in fine linen, and all the gold prepared for the work, in all the work of the set-apart place. And it was the gold of the wave offering, came to be 29 talents, and 730 shekels, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. And the silver from the ones counted of the congregation of 100 talents, and 1,775 shekels, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. A pekah, half a shekel, for a head, according to the shekel of the set-apart place, for everyone passing over to those counted, from 21 years and above, for 603,550 men. And the 100 talents of silver were for casting the sockets of the set-apart place and the bases of the veil, 100 sockets from the 100 talents, a talent for each socket. And of the 2,775 shekels, he made hooks for the columns, and overlaid their tops, and made bands for them. And the bronze of the wave offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And with it he made the sockets for the door of the tent of appointment, and the bronze slaughter place, and the bronze grating for it, and all the utensils for the slaughter place, and the sockets for the courtyard all around, and the bases for the courtyard gate, and all the pegs for the dwelling place, and all the pegs for the courtyard all around. And all the blue and purple and scarlet material, they made woven garments to do service in the set-apart place. And they made the set-apart garments which were for Aharon, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he made the shoulder garments of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, of fine woven linen. And they beat their sheets of gold and cut it into threads to work it in with the blue and purple and scarlet material and the fine linen, the work of a skilled workman. They made shoulder pieces for it to join it. It was joined at its two edges. And the embroidered band of his shoulder garment that was on it was of the same work of gold and blue and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And they made the shohem stones, set in plated works of gold, engraved as signets are engraved, according to the names of the sons of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the shoulder garment, stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he made the breastplate a work of a skilled workman, like the work of the shoulder garment of gold, of blue, and of purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. It was square. They made the breastplate double, its length a span, its width a span, doubled. And they filled it with 4 rows of stones, a row of ruby, a topaz, and an emerald was the first row, and the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond, and the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst, and the fourth row a beryl, a shoham, and a jasper, set in pleated work of gold in their settings. And the stones were according to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 according to their names, engraved like a signet, each one with its own name according to the 12 tribes. And they made braided chains of corded work for the breastplate at the end, of clean gold. And they made 2 settings of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings on the end of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 cords they fastened to the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder piece of the shoulder garment in the front. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the two ends of the breastplate, on the edge of it, which was on the inward side of the shoulder garment. And they made 2 gold rings and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces underneath the shoulder garment on the front of it, close to its seams above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment. And they bound the breastplate by means of its rings to the rings of the shoulder garment with a blue cord, so that it would be above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, and that the breastplate would not come loose from the shoulder garment, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he made the robe of the shoulder garment a woven work, olive blue. And the opening in the robe was in the middle, like the opening in a scaled armor, with the woven binding all around the opening, so that it would not tear. And they made on the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet material, twined. And they made bells of clean gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates on the hem of the robe, all around between the pomegranates, a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, all around the hem of the robe for the service, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And they made the long shirt of fine linen, the work of a weaver, for Aaron and his sons, and a turban of fine linen, and the turban ornaments of fine linen, and short trousers of fine woven linen, and a girdle of fine woven linen with blue and purple and scarlet material, the work of an embroiderer, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And they made the plate of the set-apart sign of dedication of clean gold, and wrote on it an inscription like the engraving of a signet, set apart to Yahweh. And they put on it a blue cord to fasten it above on the turban, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And all the work of the dwelling place and of the tent of appointment was completed. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh had commanded Moshe, so they did. And they brought the dwelling place to Moshe, the tent and all its furnishings, its hooks, its boards, its bars, and its columns, its sockets, and the covering of ram skin dyed red, and the covering of fine leather, and the veil of the covering, and the ark of the witness with its poles, and the lid of atonement, the table and all its utensils, and the showbread, the clean lampstand with its lamps, the lamp to be put in order, and all its utensils, and the oil for the light, and the slaughter place of gold, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the covering for the tent door, the bronze slaughter place and its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the screens of the courtyard, its columns and its sockets, the coverings for the courtyard gate, its cords and its pegs, and all the utensils for the service of the dwelling place, for the tent of appointment, the woven garment to do service in the set-apart place, the set-apart garments for Aaron the priest and his sons' garments to serve as priests, according to all that Yahweh had commanded Moshe. So the children of Israel did all the work. And Moshe looked over all the work and saw that they did it as Yahweh had commanded, so they had done. And Moshe blessed them. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, on the first day of the first new moon, you are to raise up the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and shall put it in the ark of the witness, and screen the ark with the veil. And you shall bring in the table and arrange what belongs on it, and bring in the lampstand and light the lamps. And you shall set the slaughter place of gold for the incense before the ark of the witness, and put up the covering of the door of the dwelling place. And you shall set the slaughter place of the ascending offerings before the tent of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and shall set the basin between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and shall put water therein. And you shall set up the courtyard all around, and shall place the covering of the courtyard gate, and shall take the anointing oil, and anoint the dwelling place and all that is in it, and shall set it and all its utensils apart, and it shall be set apart. And you shall anoint the slaughter place with the ascending offering and all its utensils, and set the slaughter place apart, and the slaughter place shall be most set apart. And you shall anoint the basin with its stand and set it apart. And you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of appointment and wash them with water. And you shall put the set apart garments on Aaron and anoint him and set him apart to serve as priest to me. And you shall bring his sons and put long shirts on them, and shall anoint them as you anointed their father. And they shall serve as priests to me. And their anointing shall be for them an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. And Moshe did according to all that Yahweh had commanded him, so he did. And it came to be in the first new moon of the second year, on the first day of the new moon, that the dwelling place was raised up. And Moshe raised up the dwelling place and placed its sockets and set up its boards and put in its bars and raised up its columns and spread the tent over the dwelling place and put the coverings of the tent on top of it, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he took the witness and put it into the ark. And he put the poles through the rings of the ark and put the lid of atonement on top of the ark. And he brought the ark into the dwelling place and placed the veil of the covering to screen off the ark of the witness, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he put the table in the tent of appointment on the north side of the dwelling place, outside the veil, and set the bread in order upon it, before Yahweh, and as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he put the lampstand in the tent of appointment opposite the tent on the south side of the dwelling place, and lit the lamps before Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he put the gold slaughter place in the tent of appointment in front of the veil, and burned sweet incense on it, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he set up the covering to the door of the dwelling place. Sorry guys, but I have to take the dog out. And he put the slaughter place of the ascending offerings before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and offered upon it the ascending offering and the grain offering, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And he put the basin between the tent of appointment and on the slaughter place, and put water therein for washing. And Moshe and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet with water from it, as they went into the tent of appointment, and as they came near the slaughter place, they would wash, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. And they raised up the courtyard all around the dwelling place and the slaughter place, and placed the covering of the courtyard gate, and Moshe completed the work. And the cloud covered the tent of appointment, and the esteem of Yahweh filled the dwelling place. And Moshe was not able to come into the tent of appointment because the cloud dwelt on it, and the esteem of Yahweh filled the dwelling place. And when the cloud was taken up from among the dwelling place, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out until that day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahweh was on the dwelling place by day, and fire was on it by night, before the eyes of all the house of Israel in all their journeys. Okay, now we are going to go to Exodus 21, verses 1 through 20, and that is going to be on page 79. These are the right rulings which you are to set before them. When you buy a Hebrew servant, he serves 6 years, and in the 7th year he goes out free for naught. If he comes in by himself, he goes out by himself. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master has given him a wife, and she has borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children are the master's. And he goes out by himself. And if the servant truly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, let me not go out free, then his master shall bring him before Elohim, and shall bring him to the door, or to the doorpost, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And when a man shall sell his daughter to be a female servant, she shall not go out as the male servants do. If she is displeasing in his eyes of her master, who has engaged her to himself, then he shall let her be ransomed. He shall have no authority to sell her to a foreign people because of him deceiving her. And if he has engaged her to his son, he is to do to her as is the right of a daughter. If he takes another wife, her food, her covering, and her marriage rights are not to be diminished. And if he does not do these 3 for her, then she shall go out for naught. Without silver, he who strikes a man so that he dies shall certainly be put to death. But if he did not lie in wait, but Elohim delivered him into his hands, then I shall appoint for you a place where he is to flee. But when a man acts presumptuously against his neighbor to kill him by treachery, you are to take him even from my slaughter place to die. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall certainly be put to death. And he who curses his father or his mother shall certainly be put to death. And when men strive together, and one strikes another with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to his bed, if he rises again and walks about outside with his staff, then he who struck him shall be innocent. He only pays for lost time and sees to it that he is completely healed. And when a man strikes his male or female servant with a rod so that he dies under his hand, he shall certainly be avenged. Okay. I don't understand that part of it, but that's what was in my book. So that's what we read, because every bit of the word is valuable, and if it doesn't seem to fit, it's our error. We're going to turn now to Ezekiel chapter 45. We're going to start in verse 16. It's on page 578. We're going to start in 16, and we're going to go through chapter 46, verse 18. And I'm sorry, but the dog is, he's wanting to come out and play because I've been gone to the ruckus all day. So, and all the people of the land are to give this contribution to the prince of Israel. And on the prince are the ascending offerings, and the grain offerings, and the drink offerings at the festival, the new moons, the Sabbaths, in all the appointed times of the house of Israel. He is to prepare the sin offering, and the grain offering, and all the ascending offerings, and the peace offerings, to make atonement for the house of Israel. Thus said the Master Yahweh, in the first month, on the first of the new moon, you are to take a young bull, a perfect one, and shall cleanse the set-apart place. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering, and put it on the doorposts of the house, on the four corners of the ledge of the slaughter place, and on the posts of the gate of the inner courtyard, and do the same on the 7th of the new moon for anyone who makes a mistake or is foolish. And you shall make atonement for the house. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, you have the Pesach, a festival of 7 days. Unleavened bread is eaten. And on that day the prince shall prepare for himself and for all the people of the land a bull for a sin offering. And during the 7 days of the festival he prepares an ascending offering to Yahweh, 7 bulls and 7 rams, perfect ones, daily for 7 days, and a male goat daily for a sin offering. And he prepares a grain offering of 1 ephah for each bull, and 1 ephah for each ram, together with a hin of oil for each ephah. In the 7th month, on the 15th day of the new moon, at the festival, he prepares like these 7 days as the sin offering, as the ascending offering, and as the grain offering, and as the oil. Thus said the Master Yahweh, the gate of the inner courtyard faces east, is shut for 6 days of work. But on the Sabbath it is opened, and on the day of the new moon it is opened. And the prince shall enter by way of the porch of that gate from the outside, and he shall stand by the post, and the priest shall prepare his ascending offerings and his peace offerings, and he shall bow himself at the threshold of the gate, and shall go out. But the gate is not shut until evening. And the people of the land shall also bow themselves at the entrance of the gate before Yahweh on the Sabbath and on the new moon. And the ascending offering which the prince brings to Yahweh on the Sabbath day is 6 lambs, perfect ones, and a ram, a perfect one. And the grain offering is 1 ephah for a ram, and the grain offering for the lamb, a gift of his hand, and a hin of oil for an ephah. And on the day of the new moon, a young bull, a perfect one, 6 lambs, and a ram. They should be perfect. And he prepares a grain offering for an ephah for a bull, and an ephah for a ram. And for the lambs, as his hand attains, and a hin of oil for an ephah. And when the prince enters, he comes in by way of the porch of that gate, and goes out the same way. And when the people of the land entered before Yahweh at the appointed times, whoever shall enter by way of the north gate to bow himself goes out by way of the south gate, and whoever enters by way of the south gate goes out by way of the north gate. He shall not return by way of the gate through which he came, but he goes out through the opposite one. And the prince is to be in the midst, entering when they enter, and going out when they go out. And in the festivals and in the appointed times, the grain offering is an ephah for a bull, and an ephah for a ram, and for a lamb the gift of his hand, and a hin of oil for an ephah. And when the prince makes a spontaneous ascending offering or spontaneous peace offering to Yahweh, the gate facing east shall be opened for him, and he shall prepare his ascending offering and his peace offering as he did on the Sabbath day. And he shall go out, and after he goes out, the gate shall be shut. And make a daily ascending offering to Yahweh of a lamb a year old, a perfect one, preparing it morning by morning, and preparing a grain offering with its morning by morning, a sixth of an ephah, and a third of a hin of oil to moisten the fine flour, a grain offering to Yahweh, continually everlasting laws. And prepare the lamb, and the grain offering, and the oil. Morning by morning, a continual ascending offering. Thus said the Master Yahweh, when the prince gives a gift to some of his inheritance to any of his sons, it belongs to his sons. It is their possession by inheritance. And when he gives a gift of some of his inheritance to one of his servants, then it shall be his till the year of release. Then it shall return to the prince. Only the inheritance of the sons is theirs. And the prince does not take any of the people's inheritance by evicting them from their possessions. He is to give his sons their inheritance from his own possessions, so that none of my people are separated from their possessions. And now we are going to go over to Matthew chapter 21, verses 12 to 17. That's on page 943. And Yeshua went into the set-apart place of Elohim, and drove out all of those buying and selling in the set-apart place, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he said to them, it has been written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers. The blind and lame ones came to him in the set-apart place, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonders that he did, and the children crying out in the set-apart place, saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were greatly displeased, and said to him, did you hear what these said? And Yeshua said to them, yes. Have you never read, out of the mouth of babes and nurslings, you have perfected praise? And having left them, he went out of the city to Beth-Anah, and spent the night there. And that is our Torah portion for this week. I want to thank you all so much for sharing the word with me this week. Have a wonderful Shabbat.